Sports for Real with Coach Hall. A couple days ago, the Denver Broncos finally cut ties with Russell Wilson. It's a move that everybody saw coming, especially in light of the way that head coach Sean Payton seemed to be mistreating Wilson. This was Payton's first year, and it was evident from the time he walked into the door that he had it out for Russell Wilson. Everything that went wrong, Wilson's fault. The bottom line of Payton's frustration with Wilson, I don't think it had anything to do with his play. It all had to do with that big contract he signed the year before. Now, under that first year for Wilson, he was under Nathaniel Hackett, who got fired and moved on to be the offensive coordinator with the Jets. But Payton still treated him as if he was being inept under the guidance of Nathaniel Hackett. Now, granted, that relationship didn't seem to work very well. They didn't produce very well that year in Denver. But you can't go out publicly and criticize some other coach because you think you're so superior and high and mighty that the other person didn't do a good job. Well, that kind of thing tends to come back on you. And when the Jets played the Broncos, they beat the Broncos. So if you're so high and mighty and whatever you touch is gold, why couldn't you beat a lowly offensive performance team like the New York Jets? But that's just something that, resonates when you put yourself in that kind of position. But Wilson, he represents a large cap space for the Broncos, and if you're trying to build a team, you don't want to have all that extra space. And it equates to $88 million worth of dead cap space, with Wilson getting at least $39 million guaranteed. So you really think Wilson cares if Payton wants to cut him? I don't think so. And I don't believe the rest of the world thinks so either. Especially given the light that it shouldn't take Wilson very long to find a job. If you're paying attention, there's only a handful of quarterbacks that you can view as non-expendable. Starting with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson has got to that point. They're not going to get rid of him now. A couple of other ones out there that you don't want to get rid of. But the rest of them, those backups, which makes it very understandable why Wilson would be a good candidate for a lot of teams. If not as a starter, at least as somebody who could come off the bench and give him some good minutes. Because if you notice, a lot of quarterbacks, they don't finish the season. So you got to have a starting quarterback, but if your backup quarterback is no good, you got a real problem. Look at the Jets. We just talked about the Jets. They had this high hopes for Aaron Rodgers, and I think eventually he's going to get back on the field and do some good stuff. Wilson was not to the point that he can play like a Rodgers and at least keep him 500 until Rodgers came back. Pittsburgh, they're in the same position, except Rudolph is a better quarterback than Trubisky. But since Trubisky had the bigger name than Mason Rudolph, you want to try to play him and keep Rudolph on the bench somewhere. But yet Rudolph, he getting ready to play. And as soon as you put him in there, what do? You put him in position to make the playoffs. Granted, I didn't think that Pittsburgh should have made the playoffs the way they played all year. But who am I to say against what eventually happened? They got to the playoffs, whether I thought they deserved to be there or not. And Rudolph was a big reason for that. So I think Pittsburgh, as a lot of people are saying, could be a good landing spot for Russell Wilson. You get rid of Trubisky, and you go from there. But I think what will happen is they're going to get rid of Rudolph because, like Wilson was not accepted in Denver, I don't think they think too highly of Rudolph in Pittsburgh. That's just my thoughts. But if you get rid of Trubisky, you bring in Wilson, and you got a capable Rudolph there, then Pittsburgh is ready to play again. Don't take much with the way they play. They're going to run the football, and all you need is some timely passes to be competitive. But if you start turning the ball over and making Mickey Mouse mistakes like a Trubisky, then you can't play. So having a guy like Wilson would be a good shot in the arm for Pittsburgh. So let's see where he lands. But back to the Sean Payton situation, when you got a quarterback that you can get some mileage out of, regardless of how you feel about it. You didn't sign him to that big contract deal. Somebody did. All you're doing is trying to build a championship team or build a competitive team. You know, they got blown out by Miami, and, you know, Nathaniel Hackett didn't get beat like that. So maybe it's not just the team. It could be Payton. But in Payton's credit, he did turn it around, and they became competitive toward the end, even was in the playoff race up until the last 2 weeks. So Payton, I always thought, was a good coach, but somewhere along the line, especially after winning that Super Bowl, his head don't even fit on the camera screen anymore. So we'll see what happens with him, but he can't keep having too many more blow-ups, because you scream down on a player like that, the wrong player, they don't give a damn if it's on national TV or not. It's going down right then and there. And I think Russell Wilson had every right to do so. And we know now that he didn't have much excitement for Payton, giving his press conference when he thanked everybody, all his players and a lot of the people that worked around the building, especially the cafeteria workers, but he didn't say anything about the coaching staff. So you know right then he wanted to take it to Payton on the sideline that day, but he couldn't. But at some point, if Payton continues to act the way he does, and I still don't understand why he would do something like that, but eventually it's going to come back to bite him. But Denver Broncos, $88 million, dead cap space. And another note about that, you're giving away $88 million like it's nothing. You get a player who wants an extra $500,000 on his contract. We can't do that. But you can give away $88 million just to get rid of somebody. So they let you know right then that they can do or pay whoever they want to pay because the money is prevalent. Now the salary cap has been bumped up to $255 million. You can give these players what they want. And given the fact that they can be hurt on any play and be gone for the rest of their career, I think it's warranted that these guys should get that little extra bit of money. But these owners, they want to squeeze everything. They want you to give them all kind of breaks, but if you look at it, they don't give you none. But when they want to get rid of a player like Russell Wilson, what do? Hey, you want $88 million? Hey, it don't mean nothing else. It's just a drop in the bucket. And it's kind of sad when you think about it, that the guys that's out there making all that money, they don't benefit the way that some people who are sitting around in the back somewhere could care less if they really win or lose, as long as the bottom line is high. They don't care. That's just my thoughts. Sports for real.